On a windy fall day, I met Michael Vecchio in Giovanni Caboto Park in the Little Italy section of Edmonton. He is an active volunteer in his Ital Canadian community and is sharing today his unique perspective of being a child of Italian immigrants.
Hello, my name is Michael Vecchio. I am an Edmonton-based writer and radio host. I'm also a musician, and I am the child of the first generation child of Italian immigrants.
When did your parents immigrate, and what was the reason they chose to come to Canada?
My family actually came in several different time periods, so not all at once. On my dad's side, my nonno, or my grandfather, and my oldest uncle first came to Canada in 1949. They came to British Columbia to work in the mines, and eventually found their way to Alberta. After they had lived in Canada, they had come in 1949, they had lived a few years, and then in 1955, my dad, my aunt, and two other uncles came to Canada after my grandfather and my oldest uncle had been here for about 6 years. And they came directly to Edmonton after my grandfather and my other uncle had sort of scouted Canada for what it was, and they had settled in Alberta, and they called the family to Alberta. On my mother's side, my grandparents came 1970. My mother was about 5 years old when she came, so she was also born in Italy, obviously younger than my dad. My dad was about 15 when he came, and my mother was about 5. That was 1970. So they came at different times. They eventually settled in Alberta, and then met here, and I was born in Canada, as were most of my cousins.
What challenges did your parents face as immigrants to Canada, and how did you see them overcome those challenges?
Certainly, the perception of the foreigner trying to understand the language around them has always been a challenge. I think also the stereotypes of, because we're from southern Italy, so for those of you who can imagine the map of Italy as a boot, the toe, we're from the toe of Italy, which is the region of Calabria, and historically southern Italy has been poorer than northern Italy, which is the industrial center, Milan and such, northern Italy. And so there's also been a perception that they had ties to organized crime. So the language, breaking down stereotypes. But I think what really got a lot of Italian immigrants through it, and I guess a lot of other immigrants as well, and my family, was just having each other, not just family, but other fellow Italian immigrants. And slowly they built this small community of theirs that they could rely on each other while pursuing the American dream, I suppose, the Canadian dream of a new life.
How do you feel you have benefited by growing up with immigrant parents?
It benefited me because I'm a Canadian. I grew up Canadian. I hold Canadian values. I love Canada very much. And while I'm immersed in Canadian society, going to school and everywhere else around us is Canadian and English, at home we had this unique cuisine. We had this language that was rarely spoken. We had our customs, festivals, dances, those unique cultural practices, or Christmas, the 12 dishes at Christmas Eve that would represent the 12 apostles, and no meat, it's only fish. So those cultural practices, those festivals, the language, certainly enriched me very, very much, and has contributed to my identity as a person, and I'm a very proud Ital-Canadian.
Why do you think it is important to learn about and celebrate each other's culture?
Very good question. We've often heard the term strength and diversity. Every place in the world has something to offer. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a unique perspective on things, and I think maybe we should strive to be citizens of the world. Embracing multiculturalism has always been sort of an unofficial policy of the Canadian government, and I think it's an important thing to continue to practice and to value, very much so, and to appreciate the immigrant experience, which, different technology. It's certainly different from when my family came 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Technology has changed, opportunities have changed, but that same core experience of leaving what you know, your home, going to a new land with strange things, that feeling of homesickness, I don't think that those feelings change. That's sort of a timeless feeling, so we can embrace the immigrant experience by appreciating different cultures and different customs and values.
What advice do you have for recent newcomers or people thinking about coming to live in Canada?
I would say not to be afraid of completely losing one's identity. You could come to Canada and comfortably make a new life for yourself in a progressive, technologically advanced society, and be a Canadian, but still have the opportunities to retain your cultural, linguistic, and other native values to you. There shouldn't be a fear of losing that. You can come here, be a Canadian, but you can also be Italian. You can be French, German, any other country that you come from, that you can still practice your cultural values and be a part of the Canadian multicultural family.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your time and your perspective with us today.